The Protecting Groundwater project is part of the Mediterranean Basin Programme 2007-2013, funded by the European Union, which aims to promote cross-border cooperation between the countries on both sides of the Mediterranean. The project is led by the Friends of the Earth Middle East in Israel, Palestine and Jordan, together with the Organization for the Development of Water and the Environment and the Provincial Council of Malaga, which manages the project through the Department of the Environment and Sustainability and European Resources Services and Territorial Information. The main objective of the Protecting Groundwater project is the promotion of a sustainable management of freshwater resources in the Mediterranean Basin and the promotion of improved cooperation between municipalities in order to protect their common natural heritage. It includes the prevention and reduction of risks to groundwater, improving the skills of municipal technical and administrative staff, building a network for cooperation between the municipal staff of the Mediterranean Basin, creating commitments with the municipalities selected, joint promotion campaigns to raise awareness about the common challenges in the field of groundwater contamination throughout the Mediterranean Basin. The final objective is the development and implementation of municipal action plans for preventing and reducing the risk of groundwater contamination in all of the municipalities included in the project. The Protecting Groundwater project is carried out in the municipalities of Alameda, Almargen, Antequera, Archidona, Campillos, Cuevas Bajas, Sierra de Yeguas and Villanueva de Tapia. All of them are in the region of Antequera, located in the northern part of the province of Malaga, 45 kilometers from the city of Malaga. We must not lose sight of the importance of groundwater in the project's study area, given that in the municipalities selected, it constitutes the only source of water. The existence of abundant and useful groundwater bodies made up of detrital and carbonate aquifers, which are subject to numerous anthropogenic hazards and real or potential pollution sources, makes this region ideal for pursuing the project's objectives. The project includes the following activities: the completion of a specific training program for municipal staff that includes teaching courses related to the prevention and reduction of pollution of groundwater in the region and managing the applications of geographic information systems adapted to it. Conducting study visits and workshops in Malaga, Israel, Palestine and Jordan in order to exchange knowledge and opinions with regard to their environmental problems. Developing a map of vulnerability to groundwater contamination in the municipalities studied, using the drastic or cost 620 methodologies. The creation of a map of the location and classification of environmental risks and the risk of contamination of aquifers and development of a GIS interface adapted to it. The definition of environmental best practices aimed at identifying and assessing the risks of contamination of aquifers and the definition of an action plan to implement measures to attenuate them. Creating and updating a detailed inventory of all sources of groundwater contamination in the municipalities analyzed. Raising awareness of the importance of efforts to protect aquifers through newspapers, websites, brochures, reports, videos, meetings and public events. The potential sources of groundwater contamination that may affect the abstractions used for urban supply in the municipalities selected for the project are agricultural and livestock-related contamination from fertilizers, pesticides or slurry, urban contamination from the discharge of untreated urban wastewater, wastewater treatment plants, municipal solid waste landfills or cemeteries, the salinization of freshwater aquifers and excessive exploitation at great depths,
The groundwater program will help us, first of all, to find out what we have to control and create tools that can be used in the future for urban planning and for planning in the event of having to solve a problem. In some way, having information tools and development tools, such as the Geographic Information System, that can be used to organize the territory. But that also can be used to raise awareness amongst the population and help farmers and cattle breeders to take preventive measures in order to avoid groundwater contamination, which has made it necessary for municipalities to make large investments in our groundwater bodies, either in the past and at present. We are very excited about this project and the idea of contributing a little more to this important resource that is groundwater.
The 8 municipalities of the region of Antequera included in this project occupy a total surface area of 1,404 square kilometers and have a population of 73,937 inhabitants. Its annual consumption of water for urban supply is around 5,643,220 cubic meters, which is equivalent to an average consumption of 209 liters per inhabitant per day. This demand is mainly covered through the exploitation of several wells located in the region's main groundwater aquifers and the use of some springs. These abstractions mainly drain groundwater from the existing carbonate aquifers that are scattered around the county. The water collected is stored in regulating reservoirs, from where it is distributed to urban areas. The most significant hazards or sources of groundwater contamination are those related to agriculture and livestock, as well as the urban activity itself. Additionally, there are also some extraction, quarries, and industrial activities that are also a source of groundwater contamination. The main specific hazards are facilities related to livestock, such as intensive pig, goat, cattle, and poultry farming, and large slurry pools. Facilities related to agriculture, olive oil presses, vegetable extract tanks, and other agricultural waste, and urban infrastructure, discharges of untreated sewage, wastewater treatment plants, petrol stations, cemeteries, as well as facilities related to leisure and tourism, such as restaurants and campsites. On top of all this, there are some industrial activities which do not present any particular risk. The most significant diffuse hazards include those related to the agricultural sector, which is the region's economic engine, such as the use of fertilizers, the treatment of phytosanitary products, etc. The intensity of these hazards in most of the area covered by this project is low, because most of the territory is occupied by rain-fed agriculture, irrigated land and pasture. The areas that have a moderate level of hazard generally correspond to urban areas, important roads such as motorways or dual carriageways, and livestock pools. The areas with a high level of hazard correspond to petrol stations, mining pools, and industrial installations. Most of the surface area of the municipalities included in this project has a low level of risk contamination of its groundwater due to the reduced permeability of the substrate materials, with the carbonate aquifers of the Torcal, Capayos, Archidona, Cañete, and Lacamora mountain ranges being the most vulnerable areas with a high and moderate level of risk due to their karstic nature, and the fact that they are the main abstraction areas for the urban water supplies of these towns. Most of the region has a low-level risk of contamination of its groundwater. This is mainly due to the predominance of low and very low-risk areas and hazards, such as rain-fed agriculture, irrigated land and pastures, which represent a low level of hazard. Regarding the very low-risk areas, these are areas that have lower populations and include wetlands and areas with scrub vegetation, as well as areas with low permeability such as clay and evaporites. The areas with a moderate and high risk of contamination, which cover a significant area, are those in the water-bearing zones, urban centres, main roads, slurry pools and livestock areas. The biggest problems at the moment as resulting from the existing hazards on the groundwater are mainly due to the high levels of nitrates and sulfates that sometimes affect the abstractions intended to be used for water supplies. This is mainly due to agriculture and livestock, as well as the use of intensive pumping during droughts. As a result of earlier diagnosis, municipal action plans have been drawn up to prevent and reduce the risk of groundwater contamination, involving many actions, including the installation of wastewater treatment plants in the municipalities that do not have them yet, application of best agricultural practices, the correct treatment of agro-industrial waste, the correct treatment of livestock effluents and waste, the rational use of wells, avoiding uncontrolled discharge into the network and public waterways, delimitation and application of restrictions in safeguard zones around water abstractions and around groundwater bodies. It is particularly important to create protection areas in the 8 municipalities, either with safeguard zones around water abstractions or around groundwater bodies. All integrated into a geographic information system within which certain limitations are established and the activities and infrastructure that may or may not be allowed are strictly regulated.